So we went into this movie, and I'll be honest, I was kind of a little concerned. It looked a little too Marvel-y. We got to get the whole team back. We're doing the Avengers, but it's Ghostbusters. It's supposed to be the comedy and the relationships between the guys, and sometimes it can even be scary. I feel like Frozen Empire actually did that very well.
Yeah.
And it continued with the family dynamics that I really enjoyed from Afterlife. And I, made this old heart grow 3 times larger. I had to see a doctor about it. It was a sad thing. I really enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife. Afterlife was my favorite Ghostbusters movie. I just really enjoyed the family aspect of it and the heart that it had. I loved, the throwbacks, but also the sentimental feeling of it, the way that it kind of tied back into the original while also setting up its new characters. And I really dug it. I thought Afterlife was just the perfect way to continue a franchise that has been dead since 1989. I thought they knocked it out of the park. So we went into this movie, and I'll be honest, I was kind of a little concerned before going into it. Not that it looked bad, but just that it looked a little too Marvel-y,
Yeah.
Oh, there's this big world-ending threat, and we gotta get the whole team back. We're doing the Avengers, but it's Ghostbusters, and to me, I feel like Ghostbusters doesn't have to be a world-ending threat, even though I guess technically
it does every time.
Yeah, technically that is the case.
Or New York City's just gonna be blown off the map.
Yeah, but this just felt like, an Ultron level villain, just from the trailers and stuff. But I'm happy to say that in the movie itself, it doesn't feel as gigantic of a story as what the trailers make you think. I was afraid it was going to be like a Michael Bay Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Where it's just a bunch of action. They're turning these, they're really losing the aspect of what makes Ghostbusters, And because Ghostbusters is kind of subtle, it's funny, but it's not in your face with a bunch of special effects. The special effects were never really the linchpin of Ghostbusters, not like a Michael Bay Transformers movie.
No.
It's supposed to be the comedy and the relationships between the guys, and and sometimes it can even be scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I feel like Frozen Empire actually did that very well.
Yeah.
And it continued with the family dynamics that I really enjoyed from Afterlife. I feel like the original Ghostbusters being in it doesn't feel shoehorned. I feel like it makes sense within the universe. As to how they're in it. It doesn't feel like, oh, we gotta call blah blah blah. It feels as watch out, Lou. It feels as normal as when when Iron Man was in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
That is very much Peter's story.
Yeah.
Right? And Tony Stark is in it, and Iron Man is in it.
Yeah.
But it never overshadows, to me, it never overshadowed Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I feel with this, is this is definitely a sequel to Afterlife.
Yeah.
That cast is the cast.
Yeah.
But then we also get these characters that live in this world as well, and they just so happen to be the stars from the previous movie.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's part of a bigger universe.
And I agree with you. They never really overshadow the other characters, but when they do have a scene, they take it away.
Yeah. They aren't also, they're not just in there to play second fiddle. They do get to lead their scenes.
Yeah.
But they're not those scenes are not so prevalent in the movie that it takes away from the actual cast.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah,
I thought, honestly, the way that they handled bridging both casts together, I thought they handled it better than even Jurassic World 3. This just feels like it makes more sense.
Yeah, they mesh better together.
Yeah.
They made the mesh.
And it fits in the world better. It makes sense that these people would be talking to each other.
Yeah, and also Afterlife kind of set that up.
You're coming.
I'm sorry. I was trying to keep it away just in case you start crying.
Oh, you're fine.
But at the end of Afterlife, it kind of set up for those characters to be with the new characters.
Yeah.
To have a reason to go to New York and be Ghostbusters and stuff. I really like the fact that they did stick with what Winston said, Ernie Hudson, at the end. Hey, still got the fire hall.
Yeah.
I've got money. I can back you all, blah, 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 blah. And like, it still held up. I loved it.
Yeah. It was great. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I would say that if you are a Ghostbusters fan, I mean, definitely check it out. If you didn't like the original Ghostbusters, then I would say there's a chance you could still like it. Like if you look at the trailer and you're like, oh, this looks like it might be fun, but I didn't really like the original, I think still give it a try.
Yeah, it's a different type of comedy compared to the first one.
It's definitely more like a Marvel comedy as opposed to like the original comedy.
Travis had us a good point in chat about the comedy of the first two Ghostbuster movies came from how unfunny and mundane the situations were, where I feel the last couple of films go for conventional setup / punchline humor.
Totally.
Yeah. Which I didn't feel like that happened not too much in this one.
The jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt natural.
Yeah.
To me, like the jokes coming out of it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I like. I mean, I'm trying to Kumail Nanjiani's character. Like, I feel like, you know, he just is who he is, and like that's funny.
Yeah.
As opposed to like set up and pay off.
Yeah.
You know, but like it's not out of mundaneness though.
Yeah.
It's not like The Office or something.
No.
I mean, I don't know. I would say the only reason to not check this out is if you did not like Afterlife. If you watched Afterlife, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and you didn't like it, I would say then probably skip this one. Because I feel like this, like, unless you love the original Ghostbusters and hate Afterlife, then maybe watch this one.
Yeah.
But if you just watched Afterlife and didn't like it, then I don't think this does enough to really change your mind on that.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. Maggie, how did you like it? And like I told a little bit about my history with Ghostbusters. You don't have to like go super deep or anything, but like just so they know where you're coming from on Ghostbusters.
Excuse me. I think I've always been aware of Ghostbusters when I was a kid, but like I don't think it was until I was like 11 or 12 when I actually sat down and watched the whole Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah.
And loved it.
Yeah.
And like anytime it was on cable, I watched it.
Yeah.
Then Ghostbusters 2. And I remember Ghostbusters 2 more as a kid because I think it was always on.
Yeah.
But Ghostbusters 2 always stood out in my mind because of the pink ooze.
Yeah.
And also the story with the baby and stuff. That's a whole other thing. But you know, Ghostbusters. Whenever I found out more as I was getting older, like how Dan Aykroyd was really into paranormal stuff, and I was like, man, this is so cool.
Which feels like they played into that in this one a little bit more.
They did.
Yeah,
and I love that.
Yeah,
and I bet he like ate it up as well.
Absolutely.
And just finding out, you know, not only they were good friends, but they had a legit interest in paranormal. I think Dan Aykroyd and Ramus, maybe.
I think so. That sounds right.
I think. And just to see them again in this, like I mean, Afterlife, it was nice.
Yeah.
But, like, we actually get their personalities a little bit more.
They're like actual characters as opposed to cameos.
And Bill Murray with his one little, like, all of them's got their own little like moment, and I loved it. I love Bill Murray's because it cracked me up so much. But I enjoyed it as a Ghostbusters fan from the beginning.
Yeah, I
really enjoyed it. I think it's right up there. Like, it's got a good story. Like, I was scared going into it. I was like, oh, it's gonna be, this is all we're gonna hear about is this monster the whole entire time.
The Marvelification of it.
We're not gonna have anything.
It's gonna feel empty or too commercial. Yeah.
That's what I was afraid of. But no, actually had some heart in it.
I mean, it technically hit all the stuff that it needs to hit for me to give it a 5. Like, I teared up in this movie. Near the end. I wouldn't necessarily give it a 5. I'm probably more sitting at like a 4. Just because like it was really good. It was really great. But I can't say I necessarily like loved it. You know, like it was really great. And you know, in watching the Ghostbusters franchise, like if I wanted to go back and watch Afterlife and this, like I could see that happening. Like we'll own this at some point. but I'm not necessarily like, oh, I've got to get this as soon as it comes out.
Yeah.
It's not like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem was or something, But no, I definitely liked it. Yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off. Was there more?
Oh, you're fine. There's like 2 people that I wish that they could come back. One's Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
And the other is Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
I want him so much.
I know. It does feel, at least Sigourney Weaver, like that does feel like a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I'm glad that they're not, like I'm glad that it's not just about getting the old cast back. Yeah. Like I'm glad that they made it make sense in the story. Yeah. Even though at the end of the day, I mean, that's obviously what they're doing.
But Rick Moranis in the second one, that's like one of my favorite moments is when the suit on, all the gear on, and he runs out to the museum to help out the Ghostbusters, even though he can't go inside the museum because of the pink ooze. Like I just love him running around New York City, and Annie Potts telling him before he leaves the fire hall that, you go get him, and I love you, and she kisses him on the cheek and stuff. It's so cute.
Oh man, it was good times. But Maggie, did you want to do a little bit of spoiler talk?
Yeah, sure, we can.
Well, everybody, we're going into spoilers, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, come back and see where we add Ghostbusters Frozen Empire to the ranking. Spoiler. I can't believe the ghosts were dead the whole time.
Travis asked a good question for spoilers.
Okay.
Who was the best new addition in this one?
Candy Girl. Candy Girl, you are my one. New addition.
Oh.
Nailed it. Well, so are we counting just like anybody that was from Afterlife?
I don't know. Because really the new character would be
the Ghost.
Well, the Ghost and
Kamal Nanjiani. Yeah. And Patton
Oswalt. I did enjoy Patton Oswalt for just that short amount of time. I did.
It's always nice seeing Patton Oswalt. Let's be honest. No, I mean, if we're talking about like the new cast, I mean, it's hard to not pick Paul Rudd because I mean he's just great. Like it's, I mean, I love.
You don't want to be a group person.
What's the main character? What's her name?
Phoebe.
Yeah, I love Phoebe. I think she's awesome. But it's just like if I'm picking like my favorite character from the movie, like it probably would be Paul Rudd because he's just so like optimistic and happy and excited to be there. Like I mean he's Paul Rudd. Yeah,
and also he's trying to figure out the whole stepdad thing too at the same time.
And it's so great. And at the end when she calls him dad, that's what made me cry.
Yeah,
was like shit. It's so good, man.
Sorry.
I will say I really enjoyed Phoebe's story arc with the ghost lady. Honestly, I don't know. I really, for a movie called Ghostbusters, for this to be like the first time they've really explored the idea of like who is a ghost, like it's kind of odd that we've made it this far and like never really had like someone having a conversational relationship with a ghost.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of odd that it's taken 5 movies to get here,
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad that they're actually entertaining that idea because, I mean, that's what paranormal, like these teams that go out and to haunted houses and stuff, they want to connect with the spirit.
And like, if we're talking about ghosts, then like, they should be kind of human sometimes, like I get why they're like Slimer and I get that, but like I feel like sometimes they should still be human. And like totally. I feel like the way they handled her, the ghost lady was really good. And I mean especially Phoebe's story with her, Phoebe wanting to be a ghost, like I thought all that played really well. Like I don't know, I thought they did a great job of like exploring the adolescence of Ghostbusters also.
I like that too. And I liked when she asked Dan Aykroyd, she's like, have you ever wondered what it'd be like to be a ghost? And he's like, yes, I have. How I'd materialize and like all these other words that you would say. And I was like, that's so great that
oh sorry,
no you go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, it kind of, when they were in the shop, not the shop, but like the research lab or whatever, kind of reminded me of Casper.
A little bit, yeah. I can see.
Like, not in a bad way.
No.
But, like, just, I don't know, just something about, like, the style, the design and stuff, like, just reminded me a lot of Casper.
Yeah.
But, like, a lot better than Casper.
Yeah. Oh, it made me so happy that in the background that they were still playing with the pink ooze.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, it showed them, like, drizzling it into something. And then at another point, they had it in a blaster gun blasting the walls in it. So that made me really happy to see that as a callback.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So many things called back to the first one. Like when Bill Murray, wherever I said that one scene, he stole it. It's wherever he's interviewing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which Harold Ramis did that scene actually with Rick Moranis. He's asking him when he's possessed by that dog.
Oh, okay.
And he's got that.
But Bill Murray did the one with the lady, right? Where she had to guess like the designs or like the triangle or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
But that's what Bill Murray would do. He would try to find a trigger for something because he's a psychologist.
Yeah.
But what was the one? Oh, the music too. They used so much of the old music.
Yeah.
It made me so happy. I was like, oh my god, that's from that one. And because my brothers had the soundtrack on a cassette tape.
That's awesome.
So I got a hold of it at some point and I got to listen to it. I was like, oh my god, this is all the music.
I gotta say, I kind of appreciate how they handled Ghostbusters as a franchise within the Ghostbusters universe.
Yeah.
Like we have that whole montage of the news report where it's like, you know, all the times that they saved New York and stuff. These things happened. You know, they're not trying to act like they didn't happen. And like the Ghostbusters theme song being an actual
Ray
song
Parker,
in
the music video,
Which first, like, okay, I am kind of a little confused on that because I got the impression from Afterlife that Paul Rudd remembering the Ghostbusters was like nobody else knew who the Ghostbusters was.
Yeah. And
I feel like that can't be true. Like, I mean, even if that was the case, like, I mean, okay, how can I put this without getting, okay. Every year we have a remembrance for something that happened in New York, okay? Like in the real world, we have a day where we remember something big that happened in New York, right? So you're telling me that everybody would just not think about the time that a giant marshmallow man walked through New York City, or even the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I love the fact that the mayor is the old EPA. Yeah. EPA guy from the first movie, and he's like, don't forget about the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. The damage from all that.
I just feel like it kind of makes less sense in the continuity of Afterlife.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also a small town, so I mean, you could argue that maybe that's just they just didn't interact with anybody that was. Yeah. But I find that a little far fetched. That like in a world full of like demons and ghosts and hell spawns, the thing that's most hard for me to swallow is that nobody would talk about it. You know, like that's the hardest part for me to take. Like I can believe a giant marshmallow man, but nobody talking about it just seems a bit too far. You know. Yeah. But no, I thought it was really great. Like I definitely would love to see another one. It's not getting great reviews. After we do this, I can't wait to actually like listen to some of the reviews and try and see like why people didn't like it. All I saw was the thumbnail for Mr. Sunday Movies. It just said yawn on it, and I'm like, why? Like I just don't get it.
What do people want? You know?
Yeah, from a Ghostbusters movie.
What more could you possibly think would happen?
Because I feel like they tried to go just straight comedy in 2016, and nobody wanted that.
No.
And then I feel like everybody was kind of on the same page that Afterlife was good.
Yeah.
But they just wanted more Ghostbuster stuff. And so, like, that's what this is.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe we can addend this, next week after we've listened to some of the reviews and stuff. But I'm curious to see, like, what people's gripe is.
Yeah.
I've seen some people saying it's just nostalgia bait, but it's not even good nostalgia bait. And, like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I just have shitty opinions on movies.
Yeah.
Or, like, I don't know. I feel like I just try and find what's good. And like if it's not good, like I'll say it's not good. But
Travis said about how you talk about the Marshmallow Man. He said, it's kind of like in Halloween 2018, when no one talks about Michael Myers, then Halloween Kills, everyone talks about Michael Myers like he's Michael Jackson.
That's true. That's very true.
And he also agreed with the Casper reference, but he said in Afterlife, when Harold Ramis showed up, he thought of the dad becoming a ghost.
Yes. And I will say, I am glad that Harold Ramis did not show up in this one.
Yes.
Like, I'm glad that they...
I was so worried.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't necessarily worried, but I was not looking forward to that becoming like an emotional crutch for us, kind of like how Spock in the J.J. Abrams, the first two Star Trek movies, like, he worked great in the first one, but like, we really didn't need him in the second one, and they still was like, what if we work Spock back into this, because we just love Leonard Nimoy. And like, I agree. Yeah. I love Leonard Nimoy too, but like, we don't need him in here. Yeah. And like, we got to kind of move on if we're going to use a new cast and stuff. So I'm glad that was just something special for Afterlife.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought of this one.
Yeah.
The librarian ghost from the first.
Yes,
Ghostbusters
that was awesome.
Is in the library, and apparently they're not allowed within 50 feet of the library.
Yeah.
After what happened in the first movie. But yeah, Ray sees her, and I was like, get her, Ray. Get her. And he just like looks at her. He just keeps on walking. I love that. Yeah. Also, Travis said in the comics, Ray actually falls in love with a ghost, and it's played seriously. So I'm curious to see how they'll handle that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And I will just want to give a special shout out to Puppet Slimer for them actually bringing like the puppet version of Slimer back instead of trying to do just a full CG.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's kind of like when we saw Puppet Yoda in episode 8. Like,
it warms your heart.
Yeah, and like it feels more real, even though it's more fake. If that makes sense.
And also, Travis put from Ghostbusters 2, Rick Moranis, he takes a bus to get to the museum.
Yeah.
And Slimer's driving the bus, and he's like, "Okay, didn't know you had your license," and he gets on the bus.
God.
Because he had a run-in with Slimer at some point in that movie. I'm trying to remember, but I think he got slimed by Slimer.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of like how Finn Hard, is that his name? The kid? The son? The teenager? Phoebe's brother?
From Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that's his name, his actual name. But just how he got slimed by Slimer and stuff.
Yeah. That was probably the weakest part for me, was his story.
Like him I'm going to figure out what's going on in the attic because I'm 18 years old, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Like, it felt like they didn't have a story for him, and so they just made a few scenes because they were like, well, we don't want to not have him.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. I mean, I guess once they gave him the story with Kumail Nanjiani, like, and them trying to find him and stuff and like figure out his fire powers and stuff, like, I guess that became good. But it was really like that early stuff of like him wanting to drive the car and like, I just like, there's teenagers are annoying enough when they're complaining, but like an 18-year-old complaining is even worse because, like, grow the fuck up already. Like, Jesus, God, man, if you don't like it, go do something, get the hell out of here.
Get out of there. You don't have to stay.
Sorry, excuse me. It's okay. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah,
it's I would say Afterlife is still probably my number one. But then I don't know. I'm hard pressed. Like, I want to give it some time, but I would say more than likely this will be my number 2. Like, I really liked Afterlife, and I feel like it hit a bit harder on the heart stuff. Yeah. Which I just prefer that to, like, the standard Ghostbuster fare. But this kind of is kind of somewhere between those.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
more than likely I would say this one is my second favorite.
I can't really say.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
I love the original, and the second one's got a special place in my heart. The 2016 one, like you said earlier, all comedic geniuses.
Yeah.
But
it's hard. It's just hard to recapture that lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And like, they were just doing the same thing. Like, and not that that's bad,
no.
but it's like Saved by the Bell, the new class. It's just kind of
same set.
Yeah.
Different people, but they're the same.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just not working. Like, you got to do something a little bit different. I think that's why Afterlife succeeds.